Should I select new project, continuing project, or project expansion in a grant application? This can be, depending on the funder, one of the most important decisions that you make when applying for funding. And in this video, I'm going to tackle this question head on with some considerations and a bit of description. And please check out at the end of the video in the description 7 more tips for you to consider when you are facing this. My name is Benjamin Dean. I'm from grantgating.com, and I hope you enjoy this video and others like it on this channel aimed at giving you the information and the how-tos on helping you get more grants. Okay, so new project, project expansion, and continuing project. So most of the time, these are fairly intuitive to understand, but not all the time. And the more sophisticated you become in grant strategy and grant writing, the less clear it is what the correct answer is. So for someone who's new to, grant writing as a lifestyle almost, as a career and really as a funding source, a sustained funding source, then there's one thing you should know. What the word project means is up to you. Okay, so new project, project expansion, continuing project. What's the common theme? The project. What is the project? Well, you kind of need to tell me. You tell the funder what the project is. Another question. If you have some things that you have been doing in the community, let's call it a program that you run, and you change something somewhat meaningful in that program, how you deliver it, you've added an additional service to that program. Does that make that program new? Does that make it an expansion? Or is it continuing? You're continuing that project or program just with a few tweaks, right? You can see how you really, for the most part, can decide what that means. So what that means then is you have a lot of important decisions to make here, and they're very grant specific. They're funder specific. Another example I'll give is, let's say you provide health services to clients in a particular area. You have a physical office, and people come in to that office and receive some sort of health intervention. Okay, that's what you have been doing. Now you're encountering a grant proposal and you're thinking about, well, I could really use some additional money to add another staff member. This staff member would be a direct service provider, but also be doing outreach in the community to bring more folks in. As a result of their employment, I will be able to serve more people, doing mostly the same work, and I will also be able to serve more people in new areas, sort of expanding out to reach in to different communities and bring folks in that haven't heard about us yet, right? That's a very easy thing to understand. You're applying for a grant for a new position. Okay, so is that a new project? Is that a project expansion, or is that a continuing project? Maybe it's a new project because this whole model is really so different that it just feels like new. It's like a new thing that you're doing. Yeah, it's a lot of the same services, but this is really something different. Doing all this outreach you've never done before, this is really new. You could make the case there. You can make the case that this is project expansion. It's pretty much what we've done before, but we're going to be able to reach more people, take in more people, serve more people, and do so in a larger geographic area. So that's expansion. And thirdly, you could say, it's really not either of those things. I'm just continuing doing what I'm doing. I'm doing more of it. More people are coming in from outside of the area, but it's really just a continuing project. You're not you're not lying. This is just a viewpoint in many, many cases. Now, the exception to this part of the discussion is if there is a clear definition provided by the grantor about what these things mean, whether it's explicit within the application, more implicit, you got to dig around in the FAQs, and or it's through a conversation, right? There may be a more clear black and white than I'm describing here, but in my experience, if this question is on there, it's pretty gray. Okay. Now, when it's gray, all that means is there's opportunity for you to be smart about how you answer it. Don't assume that there is a correct answer and you're trying to get the correct answer. That's not what you're doing. This isn't a test. Grant applications are not a test. Okay, they're an opportunity for you to present a compelling case to receive funding to do the important work that you want and need to do. Okay, so this is maybe the meat of the message right now, is that this is not set in stone. Okay, so here's some other tips. Number one, take a look at previous grantees. Do you know anybody? Is there anybody that you can reach out to? Are you willing to make a few cold calls? Usually you'll get great response rates on cold calls, especially if it's a different service area and a different service category. There's no perceived competition between you and them. They got a grant. Hey, I have a question for you. You got a grant from this organization. Can I ask, can you tell me about your project? And was it a new expansion or continuing? And did that get brought up in the interviews? We're just really struggling with this question. I was hoping to take 5 minutes to maybe understand it. Is your grant writer available? Is your executive director available? Okay. You can look at previous grantees and gain some information there. Secondarily, and where you'll get the most direct information, is the actual foundation, is actual going to the foundation and being strategic with your questions. So what you can do, and this is okay, is say, here's our project that we think is the best fit for your organization, for your funding. And we would like your advice on whether we should select new project, project expansion, or continuing project. Okay. And then they're going to give you your advice. And then you have the right answer. If there is such a thing, you have the correct answer, right? But what's really more interesting is not their opinion on where you fit, but what's more interesting to understand is how the answer to that question affects how your application is evaluated. So as to say, do they have quotas? Does this organization generally fund about 20% new projects and 80% expansions and continuing projects, right? Do they attempt to limit their new projects to limit liability? That might be something to ask. Another place you could go to is if you know anybody on the grant review board. Okay, this is the type of thing that may not be written down anywhere, but may come up in conversations with the grant reviewers, who are many times volunteers, and the staff of the foundation. Many times that is the case, how it happens. Somebody will be reviewing and they'll say, why is this question even in here? There's nothing in the rubric. And there might have been something mentioned about us really excited this year about taking on new projects. We're looking for new things this year. Okay, so these are all little pieces of data that you can use to make this decision. Generally speaking, new projects typically signals to funders that you're beginning something new and can spark the idea of innovation, or something, you're just bringing something new to your organization. This is the place where if there's something exciting, you can catch the attention of the reviewers who are looking for fresh ideas. There's a catch. Funders will want to see that the project is feasible. Okay, even if it's new. So you have a higher bar, generally speaking, to be able to articulate that you know the costs and you know exactly how this project is going to unfold. You'll need to provide a very, very realistic plan, more so than perhaps a continuing project where you're able to rely upon your decade of experience in this space and solid groundwork that you have done to understand the new initiative. Okay, so you have a bit of a higher bar. You're sort of maybe swinging for the fences, and maybe, some of this comes preempted from conversations. Again, this is why relationships really matter. Being able to reach out and saying, I've got this really cool new project, and I want to know if your funding from your organization is the right fit for it. Okay, so that's new. The second one, project expansion. This is a fit if you've already run a successful project and you're just looking for some meaningful scale. Scale up in terms of number of served, scale deepening in terms of the services that you provide to that same group, or scaling, geographically into other groups, other areas, other demographics you could put into that as well. Okay. Funders want to see growth, especially when it's backed by success. So project expansion is, in my experience, where you typically, I don't want to say you want to be, but I have personally found more success in project expansion, okay, than I have in new project or continuing project. Project expansion hits a lot of things that you can still get some of that newness out of it. You can say, jump in right now. This is the time. We have done X, Y, and Z, and we're still growing. We haven't plateaued. We are expanding. Okay, and you can help amplify our success. Typically, this is where I try to be, all other things being equal. Okay. And of course, this will showcase, you'll be able to get more into the return on investment here than you will with a new project. You'll be able to get more into the efficiencies that you have created. That's expansion. That's, usually I've found success there. Number 3, though, is continuing project. So this is like the safe bet out of the 3, if you want to think about that. Its option is typically ideal. If you've got something, you're not changing much, you just want to keep doing what you're doing, and you know that this funder likes that. Maybe it's a lower risk tolerance sort of organization. Maybe it's an organization that cares. They care about people. They care about doing stuff good, but they care about marketing. And they can rely on you to get their name in front of your donors and your constituents, and that means a lot to them, and that means a lot to you because you have more money coming in for what you need to do. Okay, it's maybe more into the category of sustainability because you've done it for so long. You'll potentially have higher remarks here. Longer term results, important here. You'll need to show how the project remains relevant, though. That's the bar to hit here. Okay, if you've been doing this for so long, what impact are you actually making? Aren't you supposed to be solving this problem? Or are you just doing stuff for the outputs, not the outcomes? That's the bar that more sophisticated funders typically are going to be looking for. Okay, so selecting the right project category in your grant application is about aligning with the needs of the funder's expectations and aligning with your own organization's needs. By choosing this carefully, you can position your application better for success. Down in the description is a free download for 7 more tips on selecting these, 7 more ideas, things to consider, and hopefully this gets you in the right direction to have some of these conversations. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, if you have anything going on with this question in particular, please pop it down in the comments. I'd love to respond and help out where I can. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.